Hi boys and girls, welcome back to art. This week we are going to talk about landscape art. Now landscape art has a special key word, land. It is when an artist paints a picture of something that includes the ground. And if you look at landscape art, it usually has the land and whatever's on the ground, the trees, maybe some houses, and it includes the sky. Let's get started. For your landscape, you're gonna create what I call a pop art landscape. It's gonna have a lot of fun lines, shapes, and colors. In your artwork, you're required to include each line, a straight line, wavy line, zigzag, dotted, and spiral. And we'll talk about that in a second. But first, let's talk about the parts of a landscape. A landscape has a background, which is what is in the back, the smallest part, the smallest tree. A middle ground, and the middle ground is in the middle. That tree right there that has this green spiral and is medium size. And in your foreground, that is going to be your biggest tree and flowers. What's in the front? When an artist creates a landscape, this allows the viewer to see the distance in their picture, to see the space. The horizon line is where the land and the ground meet. So you have the land right here and anything below it that gravity keeps down, the trees, you, flowers. And then anything above the horizon line is gonna be your sun, your cloud, and whatever is in the sky. Let's get started. Hi boys and girls. We've been talking about landscapes, and this is a work of art where you could go outside, get some fresh air, or hot air in Arizona, and observe what you see far away or up close. And today we're gonna create just a simple landscape using some of our basic lines and shapes and art. So the materials I'd like you to get today need to be a piece of paper, a pencil to draw with, and markers and crayons to color with. So go ahead and pause the movie, get your materials, and let's get started. To begin with our landscape art, we are going to begin with our paper side by side or horizontal layout. So if your paper is tall and looks long, you're going to want to change it so it is horizontal and side to side. We're going to begin first with our very first big tree. And I'm going to use a letter for my tree. And my letter is going to be the letter Y. And I want it to go almost halfway in my paper. So if it helps you for measuring, you can fold your paper in half. And you're going to start with a tall straight line. And it's going to go out and stop on that fold just like the letter Y. And that's going to be our tree trunk and its branches. If you want to get more creative and add some more branches off of your tree, you can add little branches or twigs. It's up to you. You can keep it simple, no worries. We're going to make the green leaves that go around our tree by making a circle. This is a tree. It grows from earth. It is natural, so don't get caught up on it having to be a perfect circle. Now, our tree, we want it to be on the ground. Our tree is in the front of our landscape or our foreground. And so I'm going to draw about 4 fingers, a wavy kind of line. And this is everything down below that line is gonna be my foreground. And I love flowers. So I'm gonna make a pattern that's something that repeats of 2 different flowers. So I'm gonna begin by making a U and a Z. zigzag line. And that's gonna be a big flower in the middle. It even has a leaf. I'm gonna make a circle with some curved lines going all the way around it with a stem. And then to repeat that pattern, I have to go back to my U. So remember, we want these ones in the front, so we do want them to be a little bit bigger. I have mine about as big or as wide as 2 fingers. And that last circle. I'm gonna add another leaf. There we go. Now let's talk about this middle ground of our paper. We're gonna repeat like we did over here and get another Y tree. But when you're in the middle ground of the landscape, you're viewing something that's a little bit farther away. And objects that we look at up close are big, and as the objects get farther away, they get smaller. They don't actually get smaller, it's just the way our eyes see objects. Things that are far away are small, and things up close are big. So I'm gonna start right here on my folded line, and I'm gonna make a V. Below my folded line, I'm gonna make a vertical line to turn it to a Y. And this time I'm gonna definitely let that be a little bit more wavy or organic of a shape. It's not a perfect circle, triangle, or square. It looks kind of like a cool blob. And again, I'm gonna make another horizontal line. This one I'm gonna kind of make it like a hill that's coming up my paper over the tree and going down. And now we're starting to create some distance. When an artist creates a landscape, they want to imagine walking through that landscape on a nice day, or maybe a bad day if it's a storm, and walking up close and being able to walk all the way to the back. So now on the back, again on that folded line, so wherever your line intersects with the folded line. So whoa, what does that mean? That's a math word, intersect. That means when 2 lines cross. I have my folded line, even though it's invisible, and my hill line. And right here is where they intersect. And I'm gonna make a vertical line and a Y. And notice it's smaller. So if I measure it with my pencil, they keep getting smaller and even smaller. I can make another shape for my tree around it. Then I just have to finish up with maybe some clouds or whatever you want in the sky. You could have some birds. You could have the sun kind of coming out. This is your landscape. So whatever makes you happy that you would like to add. And that's it. Now we're gonna go grab our markers and get started on outlining. I like to use my markers to outline. It really pops out in contrast with the crayon. So the bold color of the marker stands out against the lighter color of the crayon. So let's start incorporating the green. That means let's use the green. And anything that's gonna be green, I'm gonna outline. So I want my hill to be green. And I want my tree to be green. Now we live in Arizona. Arizona doesn't have a lot of rolling green hills, at least not in southern Arizona, in Tucson where we're at. It doesn't have a lot of big green grass areas or green trees. So this is maybe a different location. I'm gonna have some lines. So this is gonna be kind of my straight line that I'm gonna use as a pattern. The one thing that I really wanna see in your artwork is all of our lines being used. So our lines in art are straight lines, which I just drew. Down here, I'm gonna use some brown and I'm gonna make some wavy lines into my grass. So wavy line goes up and down, being careful not to go over those beautiful flowers. And I'm gonna repeat it so it looks like I'm making a pattern in my wavy line. And while I have my brown out, I'm actually gonna use it to outline or highlight the trunk of my tree and my branches. Now, a trunk of a tree is actually pretty thick because it has to be very strong to hold up the leaves and the branches. So I'm gonna take my marker and I'm just gonna thicken him up a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna get some blue. I'm gonna outline my clouds, not because my clouds are blue, but my sky is blue. And the next line that I'm going to use in art is gonna be the dotted line. So I have my straight line, my wavy line, my dotted line are just dots that kind of repeat. So mine is following along the hill. And I'm just gonna kind of keep it going and filling the space in the sky. Now some yellow. I really love flowers, so I'm gonna use some yellow because I find it to be a happy color for my yellow flower. I'm gonna use some yellow for my sun up here. And now I get to have fun, and I think I'm gonna make a pattern with my flowers being pink, purple, pink, purple. I forgot when I had the green out to do the stems down here, so I'm gonna do that now. Is there anything I'm forgetting? Oh yeah, Miss Samsel made some birds in the sky. And you can tell they're far away. They kind of just look like a weird M or two curved lines. They don't really look like birds, but if they flew down closer to where I was, I could see the detail of the bird. So we have in the front or the foreground our big tree, in the middle ground our medium-sized tree, and in the background our tiny tree. Now you can get out your crayons and color. Remember, when you color, don't scribble. I also was teaching a technique that when you color in large areas, it takes a long time and sometimes it hurts your hand. So press lightly so it doesn't hurt your hand, and then you won't see it over the marker if you accidentally cover a little bit of the marker. Now you did a lot today. I'm so proud of you. If you feel like you need to take a break, go ahead. You can come back and color it later. Or if you want to get it all done today, great. So now that I finished coloring in my sky, I realized I kind of forgot to add some detail in my trees. If you look at my example, I added a spiral line, which happens to be my favorite and we forgot. And I added some more dots or apples and some zigzags. So far we have our straight line, our wavy line, our dotted line. Grabbing my green, I'm going to start in the middle and go around. This is called your spiral line, and I'd like you to add some spirals here. If you don't want your spirals in your tree, it could be in your sky or your clouds or your flowers, but I do want to see those beautiful spiral lines. And I'm going to use my yellow to make a yellow zigzag line in my tree. And I put a few tiny apples. They're far away, so they're just little dots. Apple picking is a good activity this time of year. Now I can go back and finish coloring. You want to color it, Bonnie? So I have a special artist here today coloring for us. And I love to show my lessons because a lot of times, boys and girls, when Miss Samsel creates artwork, it might look like, how am I going to create that? Miss Samsel is so good. Well, Miss Samsel's kind of old.
But she is the best.
Oh, thank you, Noelle. So I got my little Noelle here. She's a first grader at Innovation Academy, and she's coloring this lesson. She can create art, you can create art, and we believe in you, and we are so excited to see what your landscape will look like.